Merhabalar. Bugün sizinle Kuzey Kıbrıs Türk Cumhuriyeti'ndeki son gelişmeleri masaya yatırıyoruz. Elimizdeki haberler, bazı analizler var. Bunlara bakacağız. Yani bir yanda KKTC'nin dışarıdaki görünürlük çabaları, diğer yanda da içerideki önemli konular, zorluklar var. Amacımız bu dinamik tabloyu biraz daha anlaşılır kılmak. Haydi başlayalım.
Evet, gerçekten de yoğun bir gündem söz konusu. Hem diplomasi hareketli hem de vatandaşın hayatına dokunan sıcak meseleler iç içe geçmiş durumda.
İsterseniz diplomatik alandan başlayalım. Cumhurbaşkanı Tatar'ın açıklamaları dikkat çekiyor. Hep egemenlik, iki devletli çözüm.
Evet ve tabii Türkiye ile işbirliğinin devamı vurgusu, milli değerler, gençlere daha iyi bir gelecek hedefi bunlar sürekli tekrarlanıyor.
Peki bu söylemin somut yansımaları nasıl oluyor uluslararası alanda?
Şimdi Meclis Başkanı Öztürkler de mesela KKTC'nin özellikle Türk dünyasındaki görünürlüğünün arttığını belirtiyor. Cumhurbaşkanı Tatar'ın Azerbaycan ziyareti, oradaki EİK toplantısı.
Evet, Kazakistan temasları da vardı sanırım.
Aynen. Kazakistan temasları da bu artan görünürlüğe örnek gösteriliyor. Tabii burada Türkiye'nin ve Cumhurbaşkanı Erdoğan'ın desteğinin altı hep çiziliyor. Zaten KKTC Türkiye Dostluk Grubu'nun Ankara temasları da bu yakın işbirliğini pekiştirme amacı taşıyor anladığım kadarıyla.
Uluslararası çerçeveye bakınca Türkiye Dışişleri Bakanı Fidan'ın Brezilya'daki BRICS Plus zirvesi de önemliydi. Orada BM Genel Sekreteri Guterres'le bir görüşmesi olmuş.
Evet, o görüşmede Ukrayna ve Orta Doğu konuşulmuş tabii ama Kıbrıs konusu da gündeme gelmiş. Yani yapılması planlanan bir sonraki gayri resmi toplantıdan bahsedilmiş. O da önemli bir detay.
Diplomatik cephe hareketli görünüyor ama.
Ama işte adanın içine dönünce işin rengi biraz değişiyor. Ciddi zorluklar ve tartışmalar var. Mesela şu çok konuşulan, beklenti yaratan Ada Kıbrıs Uçuş projesi.
Ha evet, THŞ ve AJet ile imzalanan protokol. Ne oldu ona?
İşte anlaşma imzalandı ama vatandaşlar diyor ki AJet'in sitesine bakıyoruz, fiyatlar hala çok yüksek, uygulama ne zaman tam başlayacak o da belli değil gibi.
Yani yine o eski tartışma alevlendi. Türkiye, KKTC, uçuşları iç hat mı dış hat mı?
Aynen öyle. Bu temel sorun çözülmeden bu tür projeler hep biraz havada kalıyor sanki.
Bu ulaşım meselesi gerçekten can sıkıcı olmalı oradaki insanlar için. Bir diğer, belki daha da yakıcı konu enerji. Teknecik elektrik santrali.
Ah evet, teknecik. Oradaki sorunlar çözülemiyor bir türlü. Hatta elektrik kurumu çalışanları sendikası yani ELSEN durumun daha da kötüye gittiğini söylüyor. Büyük bir kriz kapıda uyarısı yapıyorlar.
Kriz derken üretim mi yetmiyor?
Hem üretim yetersizliği artıyor geliyor hem de çok ciddi iddialar var. Mesela santralin kalitesiz yakıt kullandığı, bunun da çevreye, sağlığa zarar verdiği söyleniyor. Tabipler Birliği de bu konuya dikkat çekmişti.
Bu korkunç bir iddia. Peki vatandaş ne yaşıyor?
Vatandaş kesintilerden şikayetçi, cihazlarımız yanıyor diyorlar. Yani bu artık sadece bir rahatsızlık değil, temel bir yaşam kalitesi sorunu haline gelmiş durumda maalesef.
Enerji böyleyken bir de yönetimle ilgili, nasıl desem, bürokrasiyle ilgili bir tartışma yaşandı. İş insanı Besim Tibuk'un vakıf kurma girişimi.
Evet, o da önemli bir gelişmeydi. Eğitim ve bilim odaklı bir vakıf kurmak istiyordu Tibuk ama Vakıflar İdaresi hiçbir gerekçe göstermeden başvuruyu reddetmiş.
Gerekçe gösterilmeden mi?
Evet, Tibuk'un açıklaması bu yönde ve bunun üzerine projeden çekildiğini açıkladı. Bunu da gençlerin geleceğine karşı alınmış bir karar olarak yorumladı. Bu olay tabii şeffaflık, bürokratik süreçler hakkında ciddi soru işaretleri yaratıyor KKTC'de.
Yani yatırım ortamı, yenilikçilik gibi konularda da bir sorgulamaya yol açmış oldu bu durum.
Kesinlikle.
Peki bir de Güney Kıbrıs tarafına bakalım hızlıca. Orada ne gibi gelişmeler var?
Onlar da kendi tek yanlı ilan ettikleri münhasır ekonomik bölgede yeni bir doğalgaz yatağı bulduklarını açıkladılar. Kronos 2 diye bir yatak sanırım. Ayrıca Rum ve Yunan Enerji Bakanları bir araya gelip Türkiye'nin denizlerde yeni emrivakiler yarattığını iddia etmişler ve AB nezdinde ortak cephe kuralım çağrısı yapıyorlar. Yani gerginlik o tarafta da sürüyor.
Anladım. Peki bütün bunlar yaşanırken KKTC'nin sıkça dile getirilen bir potansiyeli var. Turizm. O alanda durum ne?
İşte orada da eleştiriler var. Kaynaklar diyor ki KKTC bu potansiyeli tam kullanamıyor. Yolların durumu kötü, çevre temizliği yetersiz, tarihi eserlerin bakımı eksik.
Yani altyapı sorunları turizmi de etkiliyor.
Evet, aynen öyle. İşin ilginç tarafı bazı yorumlara göre Güney Kıbrıs bölgedeki gerginliğe rağmen hatta belki bu yüzden turizmde yüksek doluluk oranlarına ulaşmış. Bu da tabii KKTC açısından düşündürücü.
Evet, tabloyu toparlayacak olursak, şöyle bir ikilem görüyoruz. Bir yanda KKTC'nin uluslararası alanda tanınma, egemenlik mücadelesi, diplomatik çabaları var. Diğer yanda ise kendi içinde boğuştuğu çok ciddi sorunlar. Enerji krizi başta olmak üzere ekonomik zorluklar, ulaşım, hatta yönetimle ilgili tartışmalar. Bu iki farklı resim arasındaki gerilim çok belirgin.
Aynen öyle. Bu durum aslında şunu gösteriyor. Jeopolitik hedefler ne kadar büyük olursa olsun, vatandaşın günlük hayatındaki gerçekler, yani yaşam kalitesini doğrudan etkileyen sorunlar çok daha yakıcı olabiliyor. Diplomatik söylemler, imzalar önemli tabii ki
Ama o temel sorunların çözümü de hayati önem taşıyor.
kesinlikle o sorunlar çözülmeden atılan diğer adımlar ne kadar kalıcı olur, o da ayrı bir soru işareti.
Belki de üzerine hepimizin düşünmesi gereken soru şu. Dış politikada atılan adımlarla içeride yaşanan bu sıkıntılar arasında nasıl sağlıklı, sürdürülebilir bir denge kurulabilir? Ve bu denge KKTC'nin geleceğini nasıl şekillendirir? Sanırım bu derinlemesine bakışımız şimdilik burada sona eriyor.
Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're going to really cut through the noise on Cyprus. We'll sift through the latest reports, pull out the key takeaways, the surprising facts. It's, a shortcut to staying informed. We've got a fascinating stack of sources here.
We do.
And our mission is to unpack what's truly important and, well, why it should matter to you.
That's exactly right. Our main sources for this dive, they include a recent transcript from BRT RJV on YouTube. That's the Turkish Cypriot public broadcaster. It's dated July 8, 2025.
Okay.
And we've also got some insightful excerpts from Cyprus, politics, economy, and regional dynamics. So the aim is really a comprehensive but digestible overview, drawing from these different perspectives to give you that full nuanced picture.
Yeah, and I'm excited about the range. We're covering everything from, high-stakes diplomacy, making international waves, right down to the local challenges impacting daily life. And even some really vibrant cultural highlights, too. It's complex, and we want to help you see how these threads connect. Okay, let's dive straight in. The diplomatic arena. What's been making headlines? Especially concerning President Ersin Tatar's recent statements. What's the core message?
Well, President Tatar has been remarkably consistent and clear. His key message is this unwavering commitment to a two-state solution for Cyprus.
Right.
One based firmly on two sovereign states. He's explicitly said, and this is a quote, "We will continue to advocate for a two-state solution with our national will." This stance, it's coupled with emphasizing continued cooperation with the Republic of Turkey and upholding national values, all to secure what he calls a brighter future for the youth.
And he really leans into the history to back that up, doesn't he?
He does.
From his view, July 20, 1974, that was the start of a whole new era for Turkish Cypriots, directly linking it to independence through the arrival of the Turkish peace forces, as they call them.
Yes, it's framed as that pivotal moment, statehood, an honorable existence. And from there, you see a clear push for greater international visibility. The Speaker of the Republic's Assembly, Ziya Öztürkler, he highlighted President Tatar's participation in the Economic Cooperation Organization meeting in Azerbaijan.
Yeah.
That was seen as a significant step, really boosting the TRNC's profile within the Turkic world, expanding that diplomatic footprint.
And Öztürkler mentioned a diplomatic first with that meeting, didn't he?
He did.
That contact with President Tokayev in Kazakhstan. The first direct meeting like that for the TRNC Assembly Speaker. What makes that so noteworthy?
Yeah.
Especially since Kazakhstan already had an ambassador to the Greek Cypriot side, the source says it caused serious discomfort there.
It's fascinating, yeah. It signals a potential subtle shift, perhaps, or at least a broadening of engagement within the Turkic world. And Bisturkler, he doesn't shy away from crediting motherland Turkey, and President Erdogan's visionary policy calls it decisive in strengthening the TRNC's international standing.
So it's not just praise.
No, it points to Ankara's active strategic push for TRNC recognition. Maybe leveraging influence within Turkic groups and, directly supporting these specific diplomatic moves.
That strong connection to Turkey, it keeps coming up. What about the TRNC Turkey Parliamentary Friendship Group's visit to Ankara? What came out of that?
Well, the group, led on the Turkish side by Orhan Erdem, they visited Anıtkabir.
Right, emphasizing that bond.
Exactly, that deep brotherly bond. Erdem stressed that parliamentary relations are robust, and Turkey continuously supports TRNC representation in international forums. Places like the Parliamentary Assembly of the Council of Europe, the OIC, Turksoy.
Right.
He did acknowledge what he called temporary sensitivities, with some Turkic republics having diplomatic ties to the Greek Cypriot administration. But he expressed belief that these will sort of balance out over time.
Interesting phrasing. Suggests they see the complexities.
It does, even within allied groups.
It all really highlights that broader Turkic world engagement. We even saw the TRNC foreign minister, Tahsin Ertuğruloglu, meeting an Azerbaijani delegation for the Our Family is the Turkic World Conference, hosted right there in the TRNC.
A very concerted effort, yes, building those ties.
Okay, let's shift from that high-level diplomacy to something more tangible. On-the-ground developments. Are we seeing positive local infrastructure projects?
Yes, definitely some good news there. In Ilgaz village, new community facilities were just inaugurated.
Oh yeah, like what?
A Mukhtar's office, a multi-purpose cultural building, and a children's park. And it's worth noting, these were built with direct support from motherland Turkey.
Oh, there's that connection again.
Underscores it, absolutely.
And what about those municipal changes, like the mergers? How are they impacting public services more broadly? Are people seeing a difference?
President Tashar pointed out that the mergers have, successfully increased revenues.
Okay, that makes sense.
And that, in turn, has led to improved, higher quality services for the public. And what's notable is this is happening even with a growing population. Suggests a pretty adaptive service delivery model is emerging.
That sounds like a solid win locally.
Yeah.
What about infrastructure safety, particularly traffic systems? Anything happening there?
Yes, a significant step underway on the Lefkoşa-Gürün highway. They're installing smart signaling systems at the Dikmen and Ayırdağ intersections.
Smart systems. How do they work?
They use intelligent cameras to monitor traffic density. The cost is around 3 million Turkish lira, which, for a local project like this is quite an investment.
And when will they be running?
Expected to be operational by the end of July. And the goal is crystal clear: eliminate those accident risks that have plagued those junctions.
Good to hear. Now, shifting from public safety to agriculture, always vital. Seems there's movement in the citrus industry. What collaborations are forming?
A really comprehensive citrus sector cooperation agreement has been signed. It involves 4 key organizations from the TRNC and Turkey.
Comprehensive how?
Well, it's not just a handshake. It's deep collaboration from production right through to marketing. The aims are quite ambitious. Sharing knowledge, R&D cooperation, joint promotions, coordinated efforts on marketing, quality standards, even sustainability. It's a whole picture approach.
Trying to boost a crucial sector from all angles.
Exactly.
And finally, on the positive side, what's this Ada Kıbrıs project? Turkish Airlines and AJet involved. What's the big vision for tourism?
Yeah, this is being hailed as a, quote, historic step, a new air bridge. The vision is multi-layered. It's about easing transport, strengthening those fraternal ties, significantly boosting the TRNC's international visibility as a tourist spot,
Okay.
creating new jobs for young people, and increasing tourist numbers through more flights. And this is key: lower ticket costs.
Lower costs are always good.
Definitely. And they plan to use the Ada Kıbrıs logo on AJet planes for international promotion. A pretty smart branding move.
So the vision for Ada Kıbrıs, it sounds incredibly ambitious, promising even. But the real test is always implementation. Are people actually seeing these benefits yet? Or are there wrinkles?
Unfortunately, yeah, despite the big launch, there have been some snags. Citizens are reporting the application isn't fully launched as promised. And there's the very noticeable issue of high ticket prices on AJet's website. which, well, it directly contradicts those promised lower costs.
Ouch. That's not great.
No, and people are still waiting for those promised shuttle services that were supposed to be a part of it. So yeah, anticipation is high, but the delivery seems to be lagging a bit.
That does sound frustrating for travelers. And beyond the air bridge, what about border crossings? Particularly Median, are there challenges there?
We're seeing some alarming reports, increased delays, and one source even used the word torture to describe what citizens face at the Median crossing in Nicosia.
Torture? That's strong language.
It is. And it's particularly tough for people needing medical treatment in the south or coming back. The source explicitly mentions ambulance teams facing significant difficulties getting through.
Wow. That really highlights the human impact, doesn't it, when political tensions affect healthcare access like that?
Absolutely.
Let's talk energy. Maybe a bit more positive. First, there was news about natural gas discovery.
Yes, reports of a new natural gas field discovery. It's in the Greek Cypriot exclusive economic zone at the Pegasus 1 target. Apparently yielded positive drilling results.
Okay, that's potentially significant for the region.
Could be.
But then, contrasting that sharply, what's happening with internal electricity? The Teknesek power plant. The reports sound, well, quite dire.
They are indeed. The Turkish Cypriot Electricity Authority Employees Union, they've raised serious alarms. They're talking about unresolved issues at Teknesek that have been going on for over a year now.
A year?
Yeah. And they're warning of an increasing energy production deficit, an impending crisis, basically.
What are the specific problems?
Things like grid issues, software failures, and critically, the use of low-quality fuel. That's leading to all this black smoke people are seeing. And it's not just the union. The Turkish Cypriot Doctors Association sees this as a serious health and environmental hazard. They claim the plant is, quote, poisoning the public and nature.
Poisoning the public. Good grief.
Strong words, yes. They're calling for its transformation. And you hear stories from citizens, too, about appliances burning out because the electricity is so unstable. It's a critical situation.
That really brings it home, the direct impact on health, daily life. Is there any clear path forward mentioned beyond just flagging the problems?
The sources mostly focus on the warnings, pressing for that transformation and fixing these long-standing issues. It implies the problems are clear, but maybe the comprehensive solution isn't quite laid out yet. Highlights the urgency, though.
It does, and it raises an interesting contradiction. If Turkey and Northern Cyprus are so inseparable, rhetorically, why are flights between them treated as international routes, leading to these high prices?
That's a crucial point. It reveals a nuanced reality. Despite the inseparable nail and flesh rhetoric, Turkey officially treats flights to Northern Cyprus as international, not domestic.
So price caps don't apply.
Exactly. Turkish domestic price caps don't apply to Turkish Airlines or Pegasus flights to Erkan, and that directly leads to those higher ticket costs. It's a practical thing that often frustrates people.
Feels like a disconnect, yeah.
Yeah.
And sticking with tourism, beyond flight prices, what other challenges does the North face in reaching its potential, especially for that specialized tourism?
Well, the critical perspective offered is pretty blunt.
Okay.
It says Northern Cyprus isn't fulfilling its potential for special interest tourism, and the reasons cited are quite clear. Poor roads, inadequate, sometimes nonsensical traffic signs,
Oh dear.
a lack of cleanliness, and what's termed neglect of historical sites and natural springs.
And how does that compare to the South?
It's contrasted sharply. Hotels in the South in July were apparently full plus full, even benefiting, ironically, from the Middle East conflict. Occupancy rates were incredibly high. Paphos, for example, reached 90-95%. That shows a significant difference.
A very stark comparison indeed. Now, what about this surprising rejection of a nonprofit project we heard about? That sounded disheartening.
Yes, this refers to Besim Tabuk's foundation project, focused on education and science. Apparently, after 2 years of prep, meeting all legal requirements, the foundation's administration's board rejected the application. This is back on May 27, 2024.
Rejected? Why?
That's the thing. According to the source, no legal justification was provided.
Seriously?
Yeah. Tabuk expressed deep disappointment, called it a decision against the future of the youth and education, and he subsequently just withdrew the whole project, a real setback for independent initiatives like that.
Wow. Seems like a missed opportunity and very opaque. And there's also some legal controversy around cooperatives. What are these different meanings and concerns?
Yes, it's about a temporary article in an amendment bill. The bill itself is about regulating premium rates for cooperative savings deposit insurance, providing financial support.
Okay. Sounds reasonable.
But this specific temporary article is causing a stir. It potentially allows legal action for unpaid loans from cooperatives that were previously excluded.
Ah, so it opens up old wounds potentially.
Exactly. That ambiguity is causing significant concern. They expect efforts to clarify it during the General Assembly discussion to avoid unintended consequences.
Right, needs careful handling. Finally, let's zoom out again to the broader East Med energy dispute. It seems to be heating up, involving more players.
Indeed. The Greek Cypriot and Greek energy ministers, they've called for a common front within the EU.
Against what specifically?
Against what they allege are Turkey's fate's accomplice in the sea actions, creating irreversible facts. They cite the Turkey-Libya memorandum and a potential Turkey-Syria EEZ agreement.
How are they framing this?
They're framing it not just as a bilateral issue, but as a Turkey-Europe dispute.
Trying to pull the EU in more strongly.
Precisely. They're pushing for the EU to define that big Greece, Cyprus, Israel electricity interconnector project, the Great Sea Interconnector.
The one with EU funding.
Yes, over 650 million euros in EU funding. They want it defined as an EU energy security project. And they expect the EU to break its, quote, silence on all this during the Energy Ministers' Council on July 15th.
A big diplomatic and energy security play unfolding there.
Definitely. It shows how intertwined it all is.
Okay, let's shift gears completely now. Looked at the cultural and social heartbeat of the island. What's new there, reflecting its vibrant life?
Well, there's exciting news about a book, A Drop of Mediterranean Notes. It commemorates the 60th anniversary of the Sila 4 group.
Ah, Sila 4.
Exactly. And it's being digitized now for use as a supplementary resource in schools.
That's fantastic. A way to preserve and pass on the culture.
Precisely. Not just on the island, but for Turkish Cypriots abroad, too, keeping that heritage alive.
And the art scene seems active, too. An exhibition called Traces.
Indeed. The Traces Ceramic Art Exhibition, it's by Clay Art Ceramic Art Workshop, happening in Nicosia, showcasing local talent, adding to that artistic vibrancy.
I love how art is also being used for environmental awareness. Tell me more about the Birds in Cyprus exhibition. How are students using art for that?
Yeah, that's a great initiative. It's by students from 19 Mayas Turk Marif College. Their paintings are on display at the new Gurney Municipality Service Building. Given Cyprus is such a crucial stopover for migratory birds,
Right.
This art is a powerful tool. It encourages young people to observe the island's amazing bird life and promotes environmental consciousness. Really important for future conservation efforts.
Definitely. Now, moving to vital humanitarian work, the Committee on Missing Persons, what's the latest there? Such important work for families.
The CMP, yes. They've unveiled a strategic roadmap for 2025-2030. It's an ambitious plan aiming to boost efficiency in finding burial sites. They're using advanced archive research, better technology, improved excavation methods.
And what are the latest figures?
They're quite remarkable. Of the 2002 registered missing persons, 1,704 have now been located. And of those, 12,270 have been identified and returned to their families.
Wow. That's incredible progress. Bringing closure.
Long-awaited closure and healing for so many families, yes.
Absolutely vital work. And to wrap up this section, what's a significant public health initiative making a difference for young people?
The Gazimazusa Ravelin Lions Club, they've been doing important HPV vaccination awareness activities, specifically for girls.
Oh, that's great. Is the vaccine readily available?
It is now. The health minister confirmed the HPV vaccine is officially part of the national vaccination schedule. It's being given to 13-year-old students.
Excellent.
It really highlights how these social projects can strengthen national health care and proactive public health efforts.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, it really makes you think, doesn't it? All these implications for the future of Cyprus. It's such a complex place where local life and global politics are constantly bumping up against each other.
It really is. And maybe a final thought for you, the listener. In a region as historically complex, as politically charged as Cyprus, how do all these seemingly separate things, a new cultural center in a village, these big international energy disputes, even local electricity problems, how do they actually weave together? How do they shape the daily lives and the future hopes of the people there? And what role do you think external support, like from Turkey, and internal initiatives truly play in trying to achieve stability and prosperity?
It's a fascinating question. It truly is an intricate tapestry, isn't it? These intertwined narratives where local progress, local struggles, and global politics are constantly influencing each other. Something to keep in mind as you continue to follow the unfolding story of this unique and resilient island.